Greetings and welcome to the Grow Moringa Collective. Today, I'm going to teach you the secrets to making six figures a year from moringa trees. In this web series, we're going to teach you how to become an owner of your very own moringa business. Put that all together, and we have the most important topics at hand where you're going to learn, grow, sell, and own. And this is our LGSO method of teaching you how to become a more successful moringa grower. Over the past 8 years, I've learned how to farm and make a living. And now, as a landowner, my plan is to design and build my very first farmhouse on this 2.5 acre property that we just purchased together as a collective. But before building this agricultural collective over the past 3 years, I was a homeless entrepreneur with a master's degree, learning how to become a profitable moringa farmer. At first, I started selling moringa trees at the farmer's market, and I really wanted to make a living from moringa to be able to tell my story today of where I started, about how I started using other people's properties and I didn't even have land of my own. And we call that OPP, other people's properties. For the first several years of my plant journey and moringa journey, I started knocking on people's doors and asking them if I could plant moringa trees in their backyard. They thought I was crazy and asked me for what. And I told them it's to be able to grow food and to be able to take the moringa material to sell it at the farmer's market. I didn't have any land. I even started knocking on people's doors while I was in school, letting them know that I was a young college student and this was a project for graduation. Hey, did you know that 58% of the people watching this video today are not even subscribed? Do our collective of hardworking growers a huge favor before we start today's lesson. If you like the moringa tree and you'd like to support us in some way, the easiest free way to help support our mission is by hitting the subscribe button down below. And we'll listen to your feedback, share more educational videos, and get back to you. So thank you very much for watching and subscribing. And so even through school, I had a goal that even though I was graduating with a degree, I wasn't necessarily going to go get a job, that I was going to begin working for myself, and I needed to find something that I felt would be able to support me. And when I came across Moringa, it seemed like it checked off all the boxes. And then when I started opening my eyes to the possibilities of harvesting other people's properties, I started seeing properties that already had moringa trees. And I could easily ask them and harvest those trees and take care of their trees. And I could make products from them without having any land of my own or trees of my own. And this is the method that I teach people about how you can make extra income from moringa in less than 7 days. You can harvest someone else's property, dry those greens, and take it to the farmer's market within 7 days. Did you know that you don't even need to have land or products to make extra income from moringa today? Become an affiliate and you can earn cash back rewards from people purchasing moringa with your very own coupon code. Sign up using the link in the description. But before long, I had planted moringa trees on over 300 properties in the Tampa Bay area. People were asking me, is this like a co-op? And I didn't even know what a co-op was. The main reason why I was inspired to plant more trees around town was so that way I could create a local supply chain, solving the food shortage problem one moringa tree at a time with an agricultural and architectural spin on the entire situation. Remember, I mentioned that architects solve problems, and I went to the grocery store and I saw many problems of supply and everything being imported, and I didn't feel confident that there were enough people local to me that if everything was a shut down, and this was in 2016 when I graduated, that I would be okay. And even when I first came with this situation in 2012, I didn't feel okay with the food crisis that was happening. We were dependent on external sources and nobody had local food. To learn more about co-ops, I enrolled in a local cooperative entrepreneurship course in Pinellas Technical College in St. Pete. And I officially formed a cooperative business recognized by the state of Florida in 2020. I started being able to help more people, create more valuable connections. I learned about the principles of working together with others and how to foster more long-term relationships. And I learned how to create a cooperative business, network, and building community only 4 years after graduating college. By this time, I was attending several farmers markets around the Tampa Bay area, supporting myself for many years from the moringa tree. There were people purchasing seeds and trees and other products were beginning to come in more steady as I began to foster and care for trees that were getting older and were producing a lot more material. I couldn't even I couldn't even keep up with the amount of orders coming into my very small moringa store that I had acquired in St. Pete. One thing that I had kept me going all of this time was the amount of communication that I was learning to build for myself, how to help new growers and teaching them how to plant moringa trees and how to care for trees. I started to create a database of information of how to communicate because a lot of times when people would buy moringa products from me, they typically had about 50 questions. They didn't know what it was and what it did and how to take it and what are the benefits, how to even drink tea or even how to use the powder. These were some important questions that helped me to formulate my very first moringa business. Did you know that you could start your moringa business today by shopping local USA moringa at wholesale prices? Get access to premium moringa products that you won't be able to find anywhere on the shelf. It was tough keeping up with orders in the very beginning, learning how to plant the seeds, grow the trees, learning how to sell, learning how to make the products like tea and powder, while also attending farmers markets every single day. I would be harvesting trees around town and also getting a lot of questions in my DMs, hundreds and thousands of questions from around the world. And I felt like I was failing customers because I couldn't get back to them fast enough. And a lot of people were getting mad at me because I wasn't actually able to teach them how to care for their trees. They were blaming me for not knowing how to grow it themselves. And people started to demand refunds from me. That's because there was little to no information about moringa online. And nobody knew what to do with the seeds, and they were dying. Nobody knew how to take it, and so the products were going bad, sitting on their shelves, sitting in their cabinets. This was a huge problem starting out. I was shipping thousands and thousands of trees a month, and a lot of them were dying from the lack of information that customers just didn't have when they received order. And it was also my inability to get back to every single customer. It started to get out of hand. To make things worse, I really couldn't keep up with orders by myself. And honestly, I kept running out of product every single week at the farmer's market. I kept running out. The demand for it was so high. The curiosity for this tree is so high. Everybody was frustrated that I was always out of product or that I was taking too long to fulfill their order. I mean, I'm not Amazon, but I needed more help. Customers were starting to get upset, and there was a lot more communication that was needed to keep them from requesting more refunds. I just needed to figure out a way to let them know that I was just running a little bit behind and that I was kind of swamped with orders and that making the products just takes a lot of time. Not only that, but when people did receive their product, they didn't even just know how to use it or how to grow it or how to plant it or how to care for them or how to water it. So a lot of the trees, early trees that I sent for many years just died. It seemed like there was an opportunity to help people, and I did have a deep desire to help more people and to try to keep them in the loop, especially after selling them the product. I wanted to have a place for them to get help with anything that they needed regarding the moringa tree. I didn't want it to just have them buy it and we no longer talk. I felt exhausted and frustrated at this point because I would spend so much time and energy with each customer that it was draining me. And there was a lot of confusion by customers who I didn't get back to. They just felt cheated and scammed. And there was really little to no information about growing moringa online at this time that I was starting around 2012 to 2020. There was very little information about moringa online. And I just felt like no one would ever know how to grow moringa like me, yet alone, no one would ever be able to make an income from moringa like me. I had no way of being able to communicate with every single customer efficiently after they made a purchase. People started growing their trees, but they were getting tall and lanky, and they were frustrated that it didn't have any greens on it. And they needed to just know that they needed to trim their tree. Many people, even after several years, needed help trimming their trees after the tree got big. All of this meant that there was a lot of frustration and a very little and low success rate of people who actually were using their tree to the maximum potential. A lot of material from the moringa trees were beginning to go to waste.